Hi, my name is Darren from HCG.tax, and we're the team that seeks to demystify that sometimes confusing world of international tax. And today we have the honor of having another conversation with Jose. Jose, can you please introduce yourself?
Of course. Thank you, Darren. My name is Jose Aguilar Shea, and I have the opportunity and privilege of being here with Darren speaking about international tax, and particularly in Spain, where I'm a tax partner in the Squire Patton Boggs firm.
Fantastic. Let's talk a bit about the Beckham Law. And there's been, at least on the internet, there's been some sort of, I don't want to name them because I don't want to get them any more attention, right? There's been some sort of advisory firm connected with the UK that has set up this website, basically being less than encouraging when it comes to the Beckham Law. But I guess there must be some sort of substance behind that, in that the Spanish tax authorities must be looking at that structure with a bit more attention than they have been historically. Do you want to talk about that?
Yes, and I'm happy. I know it's a sensitive matter, and as you said, you've seen a lot of marketing around this case. If you ask me, with my personal hat, I do think it's a pure marketing strategy of the foreign firm. I think it's known that the tax authorities in Spain, and probably most likely around the world, are being a little more, especially in the big economies in the way of population, right? They do have tough scrutiny on taxpayers. That's true. I'm not going to say it's not the case. But again, as I said, I think if you looked it through, there was a publication for the general tax manager of the Spanish tax authorities just last week, which kind of defending the tax authorities fight for fraud, tax abusive situations. And I got to tell you the truth. I felt that some of the Beckham Law that it came to my table would not properly advise. And I've heard about a lot of people that had just hey, I had a fake contract. I asked someone who put me in their payroll. And even where obviously you're clear on what is abusive situation. And there was probably a part of it that was kind of a gray line. Yes, I moved for that. But again, and before, no one looked at it and no one cared. The tax authorities didn't really have a lot of scrutiny, and that probably was in mind of most people. Don't worry, you can. I have a friend that'll say hire you and all. And now it changed a bit the view over the last 5 years, maybe, that they've been more scrutiny on that. If you set up your own company, they ask, okay, what's the purpose of the company? If you have an employment contract, let me see that you actually have improved working in Spain. My view is like asking questions, and again, I've been able to respond to those questions to some clients and be okay. Thank you for the comments. You're approved. I didn't feel like it's random. I didn't feel like they're going after anyone in particular. Again, if you ask them, this is not a regime. The special tax regime is not focused to attract high net worth individuals. So if it's a high net worth individual, I'm really putting, and I've had clients. We can probably work around that, but said, look, you have to set up your own business. You have to develop. You have to be part of it. There's a bit more flexibility, as we explained before. There's two main options, which is you be an employee of a company or you become director of a company, of operational company. Again, employees work 40 hours a week, right? So that might be a little more to prove if it's someone that it's using that to kind of benefit from the regime. But again, if you set up your company and director, you can have the management services. Obviously, I'm insistent, like you have to manage effectively. Otherwise, and I'm telling all the clients, you have to assume they eventually will ask questions. That doesn't mean they're going against you. They're asking questions, right? And again, I've had one or two bad experiences, which are based on there wasn't a lot behind it. And you know how we advise, and then 3 years after, someone comes, tax authorities come, in our memo, it's sitting in a back cabinet of the client. And a lot of the recommendations we put forward, they weren't standing out. In a nutshell, I do think that there's more scrutiny by the tax authorities on the Beckham Law, but it's not unjustified. Let me put it that way, right? If properly structured and properly done, I think this is a really safe and optimal regime for tax planning.
Understood. That's good to know, because the impression online is that it's punitive and somehow it's against the rule of, but it's good to know that it is justified, it's systematic, and it's not unreasonable.
And I'm going to tell you the tax authority, one of the points, I'm not here to defend the tax authorities, of course, But one of the points that they said that they only reviewed 0.5% of the Beckham Law applicants.
Wow.
So that if you look at that, that's really not like they've turned down minimum of minimum. And again, and if anyone has doubts, if you come here with an employment contract, that's bulletproof. Like if you move in here from, I mean, an expat, like a class of exit, there's no gray line there. It's 100% is going to apply. That's what I said.
Yeah.
The only point is there's been, I mean, the law says it takes 10 natural days to tax authorities to respond. We're taking up to 4, 5, 6 months. It's just, that's what it is. And they may look into that and it's fine, but that's it. And the only point that I'm saying is really punitive, which it's just because there might be a wrongful understanding of the law. Because we have 4 years of statute of limitation. So it's true that you can think, well, I was approved the regime. Well, you approved the regime that you were an employment contract. The tax authorities looks into that, concludes it's not a proper employment contract. So they look at the 4 years before, they deny the regime and they claim your taxes on a worldwide basis with penalties. So I remember a client saying, well, yeah, they call me, but why don't they just do 1 year? I'm like, the moment you're kicked out 1 year, they have 4 years. So I don't blame you. That's just how any system works, right? If you're in, you're in. If you're out, you're out with all the consequences. So it's not, and it's all regulated how those consequences apply. So I think that's straightforward on that.
Right. Jose, if anyone wanted to get in touch with you to follow up on any of the topics that we discussed, what's the best way to find you?
My full profile is in LinkedIn, and also you can find me on the webpage. Just put my name up and Square Pattern Box, and you can find full details. So happy to always assist and even for informal conversations.
Fantastic. Thank you.